just was mentioned, that you have the Busoga representative, the Isu. The challenge with that was that one of continuity in terms of one, the patrons, because as people are changing leadership, that meant that we needed to have someone to ensure that the Busoga region is changing, the Isu region is changing, and because there were no people maybe back then as patrons really overseeing that activity, then you would have some regions go dormant. You last know a chairman who was present in 2009 and you don't know what has been happening until 2012 when you wake up and realize you don't really know what has been happening in the Busoga region. So the new constitution that was adopted in 2011 then just generalized the regions as one region, so that if the regions are working and the decks are also functioning well, then the issue for them, he mentioned it some time back, the fact that if he's in Bara University, sometimes traveling to Kampala means coming back to Uganda, to Kampala first, because there's no direct route. So they also face some of those challenges. And with Mila, I'm sure that as we keep discussing, we're going to be... One of the things that has happened, I think, over the last 3 years that is very notable is the fact that the regions and some districts have acquired patrons. The relevance of that may not be understood earlier, but having someone to oversee the leadership that is present and ensuring that there is change of leadership helps a lot in the forward movement of the association in terms of continuity. Because even the projects that have been started by some people end up dying down because once the person hands over, like we mentioned earlier, they disappear and become busy and no one is there to oversee this project. The new regime that comes in do not really understand the project, but if there is a patron present and they know how this project works, they know the magnitude of benefits they've gained from this project, they're able to inculcate the culture in the new teams to actually continue progressing the projects forward. So I think that is a bonus to us that right now, at least in majority of the regions and districts, we can boast that we have a number of patrons present, and I think that is going to help us, inshallah, to oversee some of these challenges. I think some of these really can also be discussed further at a regional level. For example, maybe in Eastern region, as the patrons, regional and DEC, they could come and talk about it and see how they can have the leaders be shared in such a way that there's more inclusivity from all the regions. Yes, as I conclude this session, I'd like to go back to the questions that were asked by our regional patron for West Nile, Sheikh Chandia Ibrahim, during his speech as he was representing the national patron. I'll go back to the first question. What is the dynamic world? The second question, are we ready to fit in the dynamic world? Because everything that we are discussing today is based on that thing, fitting in the dynamic world. The challenges that we're experiencing and what is going on in the world today. Are we ready to fit in the dynamic world? Then who am I? Who are you in this dynamic world? What is your relevance in this dynamic world? I like my brother's point of we have to start making the contributions now in terms of when he was talking about the project, because when you look at some of these challenges and the solutions that we have offered to them, they are very good solutions, but all these solutions, my brothers and sisters, will remain suggestions and ideas and words unless we take a step forward, unless the first person decides to visit that primary school and introduce themselves as part of Msau. If we keep saying Msau is not in primary schools, but I know it and I'm not even visiting my former primary school to tell them that, you know what, I've come to tell you about Msau because I'm now part of it. You groomed me in my primary and I'm part of this now, and I think you need to benefit from it. Then we shall not move a step forward.
I would like to use this opportunity to talk before you. I am Abdul Qahar Harun Abdullah Ngori from Islamic University College, one of the representatives who have come tonight from Kampala Central Division. I have several points to put across, and I'm going to point them out in summary. As a person in Central Region of Uganda, and from Kampala, for us, we are influencing several problems and vice versa to our friends. According to our friends, for them, they have achieved at least something. I've heard some people have even conducted inductions. But for us from Central Region, we have faced a problem of being organized, and it has been caused by our heads. We be there organizing something, you hear an order from above. Someone has said, we do this. Like what has happened a few days ago. We had to have an induction somewhere. They changed it to Islamical University College. When they reached there, they delayed to bring a letter. A person reached a day to the organized day. They communicated to us at night and told us that now the induction has been changed to Makerere. Reaching at Makerere, where he was telling us to go, we reached there even the place that they told us to meet from when it's not booked. Therefore, it means that when we call all our friends and come there, who wants to join Msau, they will go back with a bad image. Therefore, my dear brothers and sisters who are above us, I would like to urge you, from you, I would like to request you that if we are to organize something, let's organize it and let's declare it before time so that we organize ourselves. Another point is about the office. As the Central Division, you find that people will narrate to us that Msau has stayed for a long time. But when asked for the office, we have nowhere to be allocated. We have nowhere to find our chairpersons. It has come in my notes that us as Msau, we have nowhere to meet from a Central Region because we are not organized. I wish we become organized and we get an office either in Kawempe or Makerere, somewhere like that, so that we meet from. Like our brother said, we have to get a database. It's amazing that here in Central Division, we don't have an office. Another point is about the pioneers. All our pioneers. It's good. When we meet in these sessions, you guide us and tell us everything. But for me, I'm just like, our pioneers, you need to sensitize us before coming here. Come to our level, on our universities, and sensitize us from there. When we come here, we discuss issues that are general to Msau, that will help Msau to raise from Uganda to other countries. It will help us. Instead of reaching here, you start narrating us stories of how we can get people, of how we can do. For me, I'll just urge to you to come to our levels and induct us from there and sensitize us from there, so that when we come here, we discuss about something that is needful. And in such sessions, we expect to come and get different lessons, practicals. You teach us how to perform projects. But when we come here and start teaching us what we are supposed to do on the ground level, I think it is good, but in unrecognized time. Another point is about the source of income. I am a project secretary or manager or what of it, what it might be. I am a project person. I'm asking you, our pioneers, after electing us, they gave us authority when we don't know what to do. No one has come on the ground to teach us. We have said for almost 2 months, but no one has sensitized us. I'm asking this question, and I'm eager to know, what is a project of Msau? What is a project of Msau? So that when I go back, I start performing the way I'm supposed to perform. Another thing, Another point, everyone here has been talking about the finance. I think as Msau, we can get people who can fund us. And we can also fund ourselves. Because when you collect 2,000 from each person who is here, we can collect your sadness of those students who are in Western Uganda, or in Northern Uganda. If you get and organize seminars and go and preach our friends who are there, we can just pick out Sheikh so and so, go in Northern Uganda and teach. How can we do that? Let's be the funders of Msau. Why do we look for the Bawarabu and the Hindus and the Sudhiris to fund us? Can't we fund Msau? Even something of 5,000, it needs someone to help us. Does it need someone to help us? Let's collect money from ourselves. After collecting money from ourselves, let's go to those people who have money. The reason why people are not giving us money, because we're disorganized. I wish we become organized. Everyone give us money. People are there who are ready to fund us. But just because we're not organized, how we organize that we're going to be here, so a funder will come in that place and not find us. Just say, but these people have been going to steal me. Allahu Akbar. Now, my last point is about high schools. Here in Kampala, Central Region, we are basing on universities. You can find that people who have come here, most of them are from Mbogo, are from ICUC, are from Makerere, are from there where we know. But you know that our friends in Northern Uganda and Far East, Dembara and other districts, for them are saying that tertiary institutions are not more inclusive. But here in Kampala, the secondary schools are not inclusive. More so the central region of Kampala, Kampala Central. Therefore, I urge to you, as our pioneers, come to the ground level and tell us our boundaries. Tell us that those of Nakawa, you are supposed to rule from here to here. So that those people of Nakawa organize themselves. You also help us to get us documents that are organized so that we be the schools to join us as Msau. My last point will be Da'wah. Msau, we have the groups of Msau. Alhamdulillah. But the bad thing is, we have not got specific sheikhs who are ready to teach us. Many people are in the groups of Msau, eager to get critical knowledge, to get a hadith that are true, that has no bunyoni. But we find that in our groups that has sheikhs, people are sending informations that are half-baked. With sheikhs, with the doctors. Now, my dear brothers and sisters, in those dawah groups, I request you to be organized, to get specialized people who know what to preach in those groups, instead of everyone posting what he or she wants. Barakallahu fikum. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Their involvement in some of the petrol forums is limited. The only what is called administrative coordination. They just coordinate the students with the administration to ensure that if there is any activity from the correspondence which are shared, notification shared, that this permission is granted that these sisters or these gentlemen, the Muslim brothers, are given the opportunity to go and participate in those activities. But their involvement, physical involvement is limited because personally they are not in that way. So that commitment may not be there the way we expect. That's one of the challenges which we needed to take on. However, under this initiative, some of them are doing their role of stewards, though they are not Muslims, because of the relationship they might have had in their school life or in the community they might be dealing with. They might have some relationship with a relative of Muslim or not. So they sometimes offer that voluntary service, which is just to take care of the affairs of the Muslims. I want to submit on some of the recommendations which I thought could be adopted by some of our elects. The aspect of self-sponsoring activities as a source of addressing the financial constraints. The self-will, the urge to self-sponsor, the way we have come for this event, if that kind of culture is inculcated into the student leadership, I know it may not be possible to have it in a week's time, in a year's time, but in the long run, that aspect will support us. Why I'm saying so is in my school time, when we were still in O-level, during times of Ramadan, we are requested to facilitate our Ramadan program by paying for iftar for the 30 days. When it comes to times of candid prayers, we sponsor, give money to ensure that this activity is executed. And if we inculcate this culture, I think it will help us to move away from the hand which receives to the hand which gives. That way, because currently, depending on the hands-on giving, most communities sometimes get tired of our begging mindset, because there is already what we call donor fatigue. The donors are globally, they are constrained. So the issue of shadaka, giving out, that practice of one giving, should be encouraged so that we strengthen these activities. Lastly, I also want to add on the issue of one of the challenges we were saying is the communication gap, which was raised by, I think, the chair of Western, I'm not sure. I believe there are online platforms now. I want to appreciate the leadership of Msau, in particular in regards to the career guidance platform. There have been an online session, online trainings, which have been running for some time. In October, November there, we have been having these programs. I want to encourage the leaders to embrace online kind of sessions. Those are very helpful and they help us sometimes to also cut costs. Physically, we may sometimes be constrained, but the small resource you have, if you be able to buy data to interact, it will help you better than traveling to the location of the venue physically to interact. So I believe if we can impress those platforms, the e-way is really helping us, and that's why we are connecting. The programming of this event was advertised online, it was popularized, very many people were reminded through the WhatsApp. I think it helps us a lot. So I beg to submit that if we, the leaders, can adopt this version of this, because currently every entity is going in, the government itself, the local governments are embracing the e-system. In the student fraternity, ICT has become a very demanding tool. It is a must now that in this very Delegates conference, we must be able to resolve that. We go e-way, as my brother has said, the issue of database and other tools must be appreciated. Thank you. I beg you, sir.
This must not be only a problem in West Nile, but it must also be a problem in northern Uganda. This problem can be attributed to lack of database about teachers in particular. I remember a case in point was at Muni Girls. The school had Muslim teachers who were at different moments posted to other schools when they got the government appointment. So when there was no Muslim teacher at the school, there was no option but to assign the responsibility to a Christian teacher to be a patron for the Muslim students. So during the PTA annual general meeting, this was a serious issue raised by the parents who are Muslims. The school offered a position for a Muslim teacher in biology and chemistry, which will now double. This person will double as either a patron or a matron for the Muslim students. But it was not easy to get a teacher to take up that position. So, if it had happened that as West Nile we had a database for Muslim teachers, I think it would have been possible for this problem to be addressed. So I therefore request that the database should as well be extended to capture details about teachers at the regional level. Secondly, if we have database, this challenge of gap between current Msau leadership and the seniors can easily be closed. Sometimes people leave. When they are not reminded, they think they are irrelevant. But after 3 to 5 years, if you follow up, I'm sure the president was here plus the colleague, simply because they have Msau at hand and they got the information that there is a delegates conference here. That's why they're able to join us. So with database, I think that can as well be addressed. Even mobilizing funds for Msau activities. If we have database, we reach out to these people who served at various positions in Msau. I remember when we were together with the brother Rasul at high school. During Ramadan, as he said, we used to mobilize resources to facilitate our iftar during the fasting. People who will target are all students of the school. So you'll find that they respond positively because they know they were there and they have that responsibility to support. Lastly, on the issue of Adjumani being in West Nile and Northern, I think regions are not permanent. For instance, South Sudan was not a member of East African Community. Even Congo, he is becoming a member of East African Community. So regions can change from time to time. Why Adjumani is considered a district in West Nile is because the people of Adjumani speak the same language with those of Moyo. So they have just been divided by the river. And we look at West Nile as comprising of districts which on the western side of the Nile. But now when you look at the language being spoken, people in Adjumani also speak the Madi language. So Adjumani is considered as a language in West Nile just because of the language issue. Therefore, it is a perceptual region being part of what? Of West Nile. But physically, it is on the eastern side of the Nile. So when somebody asks, is Adjumani in West Nile or Northern Uganda? I think the reason is both no and yes. No being it is on the eastern side of the Nile, yes being it is perceptual, because the people there speak the same language with those on the western side of the Nile. I therefore say this should be a consensus between the people from the northern side and the one on the western side. They have to decide, should it be on the northern side or on the western side? Thank you once again.
Thank you very much for those insights. Very interesting knowledge we're getting to.
Comment on the issue of induction. Our brother from Western region talked about induction of 2 hours. My brother, thank God, because other institutions don't even care, don't take induction as an important course. So you find that a student is given leadership while he or she doesn't know why and how he's going to take the office. So I would like to call upon Msau structures from NEC up to Musas to take induction as an important course as far as leadership is concerned, in order to produce student leaders who know why they are given leadership and why they are given leadership and what to do. And the other thing I would like to say is that we should bear it in mind that as Muslim student leaders, we have a great battle to fight, and it's the battle to defend Islam. The question goes to you all. How are you defending Islam as a student's leader? Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi
wa barakatuh. I thank Allah for this opportunity. And then, in the interest of time, I think the saying of the day and for the conference is that fitting in the dynamic world. And if you look at the setting now in Uganda, we have the city, we have the municipals, and we have now the districts. I remember when the chairperson of the Central Region was saying, he said maybe there are few districts, but big challenges. So an individual who represents, for example, Kampala as a district. Kampala is a district, but practically it is a city. Much as it could be small physically in the location, but given the individuals who are there, Kampala is big. So it would be suffocating the district chairperson to be alone, to be the same like a person maybe in district chairperson of Kaberebion. So the need is that we should also go and fit in the dynamic world that it has been made a city. We should also see a way of trying to see how city can be also administered structurally by Msau. Because you see, when we forget that, somehow, somewhere we shall, and even when you look at the challenges of individuals in the city, they may not be the same, the challenges of individuals in villages. When I remember recently, one of the ministers was saying that in his district, they don't need this village model, that their district has gone beyond that. So somehow, somewhere, Msau should adapt to that thing, that we also talk about cities, we also talk about municipalities, and also talk about their registration. That would be okay. Another issue is, how do you say, we should also talk about increasing the risks. You see, we have what we call novelty effect. That a same principle taught by different individuals may be taken differently. So if somebody, like for example, moves from Kampala to go and he identifies himself himself to go and talk, teach something maybe in West Nile, it may be taken very well by the same principle being, more than the same principle being talked about by somebody from West Nile to the West Nile. So I would say these issues of risks should not be underrated. Let's try to, and even there could be maybe districts with the excess of manpower for teaching. So such individuals will be told, now you try to risk. If you look at what Msau is today, and you remember what happened, used to happen to the legends like this professor, this literature professor, and then Kasozi, Imam Kasozi. What they did, you see that maybe, and even other individuals who were there at that time, who incorporated Msau with us, these individuals are used to move. I remember one time, even Kasozi, he phoned me there in West Nile. I said, those are actually, that is what they used to do. So I say individuals should not forget, and not just waiting until I think in the morning, the organizers talked about rotational, that's a good idea. But even before we go for the date where the rotational issue would be, we should have these risks, and all those who go should identify themselves with Msau, like those legends of Msau used to say, that have come this way, I'm talking about this and this and this. I think that one we should not forget. Then maybe another issue is, Alhamdulillah, somebody was talking about that in their district, there are certain organizations which identify with the different names. So
For me, I would say that maybe we forget about what we have as rank or division is rank. As an individual, because that's what is there. Find Muslims maybe somehow, somewhere, things are not telling properly because for them they identify themselves with whatever groups. But I would say we should not all take that. After all, their sons and daughters are students, which Msau stands for. I think we should not mind about them, but deliver what Msau is meant to deliver. Thank you very much.
Good evening, members. I guess you are all tired. However, due to time, allow me to pass over this. On the issue of project, brother, I want to rectify this. We should not wait for the national or the NEC to come and organize projects at the Msau down. I would rather ask that with us here we have different regional representatives, the representatives. Let them be ambassadors to ensure that at least in every school there is a project, most especially for the Muslim-founded schools. For this case, I started from a Muslim school, whereby every Friday we used to go in classes and collect money. That culture should be maintained and collect that money to start up a project for the school, for the association, to avoid these issues of borrowing money outside. The other issue about cooperation and the region being too big. To me, I think that we should subdivide these regions. For example, in the Eastern region, we are having, basically around we have Bugisu, Busoga, and Bugwe. I think we should subdivide it and come up with vice chairperson of those different sub-regions with their council members, like 5, to gap up with the other main executive. It can also apply to the national. NEC is only centered in Central. However, the chairmen are not enough to be representatives. They at times don't take our message to the NEC. We are not sure whether the message we give them reaches. I would rather for us that let the different regions have the different vice chairperson, like in this scenario format. Vice chairperson from Western, vice chairperson from Eastern, like that. To connect, link, direct relationship with those regions and districts for effective service delivery. Otherwise, when we sit in Kampala and say, NEC offices are going to be in Kampala, everyone will make is centered in one place. How are you going to make a follow-up on the different challenges facing people in the different regions or districts? Assalamu alaikum.
Inshallah, I will try to be brief with the interest of time. Number one point is that I would like to inform all of us that as we are here now, we are the Msau. As we are talking, let us not talk like West Nile, let us not talk like Central, Northern region, let us talk like Msau, and how we can make it better. Inshallah. Number one activity or point I would like to put across is what I've talked about, and that is the joint activity, inshallah. Sheikh Yassin, in the points he has put across, he has talked about the various associations which are sister to our association. And he has said that they are doing some activities or joint, it means to call them as I've said, activities which bring them together. And they have called those other sister associations from Kenya, where and where. I hope and think that if we do that, as Msau, we call upon Northern region, we call upon Central region, Eastern region, we come like here, there is an impact which can be created. Number two is the point I've met again there, and that was about the project Bi'idhnillah. NEC, we need to have an income generating project Bi'idhnillah. And the point I've made to my OB and my president is that let us start now. Let us say that in this delegates conference, we are going to fundraise. Even if we come out with 100,000, it will be on the account, and it will always awake the minds that there is money which we have for a project. But if we just stay in words, we need to have a project. If we don't have a project, we shall never start. Let us say that tomorrow, inshallah, at 4, everyone will contribute what he can. If you don't have, it's okay. That money goes to the account. Inshallah, we shall start. Hope that is a good start. I'm asking the colleagues, isn't it a good start?
It is.
We say that tomorrow we are going to fundraise. That money goes to the account. My incoming president, Mubiru Musa, will always know that I have 100,000 for the delegates of Msau who wanted us to start a project, and I should mobilize money from other institutions. I said I want to be brief and I'm over-explaining. I'm sorry. Number 3, inshallah, I'll talk to my president, to my chairperson of Northern Region about Ajumani, and he will reach my brother. Inshallah, they will sort the issue of Ajumani. But I think as our parent or the senior member of Msau said, we are all working together, bi'idhnillah ta'ala. And lastly, maybe, inshallah, I think after starting your project, it will also make our minds awake again to have a NEC office and leave the thing of Makerere Mosque. That's where we gather. As if that's where we gather. Mr. Asim, is it? My brother, I think the one who has just spoken, he has spoken about our office for NEC. And I've heard, but I'm not sure, it's in the Makerere Mosque, it is the office, isn't it? Where is it? I think we need the takbir for that point made by my senior president. Takbir! Takbir! MashaAllah, we would have the office in
It shows how interested we are in the matters of regional performance. Yes. I would like to make comments on the following issues. 1. The regional chairman made a comment that we have some specialized or other associations in some regions. Now, as a regional chairman, some of them find it challenging to execute their duties. And there is sometimes what is called conflict of interest. Mr. Chairman, I would like to inform you that that challenge is not only in West Nile. In the whole country, we have those other associations. But now, as the Muslim Students Association of Uganda, some years back, we discovered that one is not actually a challenge, but it is a blessing. You get it? So what do? We work together with these associations, because when we went into their constitutions, what they do, we found out that we are doing the same thing. No, actually, you find others actually totally different. There's even nothing like copying and pasting. But if you are to analyze their activities, they are the same activities that we do. You get it? Others, as you say, they copied and what? And pasted, but they just changed the what? The name. So what do? We work together with them. So as the regional chairman, you should not go and force powers that I'm the regional chairman. I'm not supposed to rule this region. No. You will crash. Because we have one in Masaka, the Greater Masaka. It's called Msau, the Muslim Students Association of Southern Uganda. They just added the S. It is there. We had one, and it's still there at Samsa in Ginger. The chairman of Ginger is around. Al-Siddiq, Al-Amin, Muslim students. And these are very powerful associations, by the way, because Asamsa used to organize East African Conference and used to get delegates from Rwanda, from which Msau has never done. We as Msau have never organized a conference, and we have invited people from Kenya, and they have come. But these associations have what? Now, the power that they have, you cannot underestimate. You get it, eh? During COVID, we saw bicycles going to Musa Central, Patron. You remember? That bicycles coming. When you go to Soroti, people are doing work. Recently I was that side of Karamoja. Something's not moving on, but you see something is coming. So what are we saying? As regional chairman, please value this association. And one of the things that we discussed as the governing council is we are going to give these associations leeway so that we come into consensus and give them certificates of recognition as Msau, but not to come and start fighting them. Otherwise, you'll be fighting a battle which you are not going to finish. That's the comment I'd like to make on that. Then, the other issue is on the few numbers. You get it? No, Mr. Chairman, let us not discuss that issue. I was just giving a general comment. The comment is, let's work together with them and find a way of coming up. You get it, eh? A way of coming up so that we can have our activities harmonized. Okay, maybe to just give you another one. Let me just give another example. We have MUMSA, Makerere University, is a specialized association. We have Chambo, CHUMSA, is also another specialized one, association. At one point, there was a conflict of interest. MUMSA and Msau, who is more powerful? You get it, eh? So, there's some battles which you don't even want to. And people are fighting, MUMSA, Msau. Until when Allah, you say now, Allah brought His mercy. You get it? Now, MUMSA and Msau were moving together. You get it? Yeah, so sometimes someone just wants to move his way. You also move your way. The end point, you're all going to Uganda. You get it? The outgoing lady vice president was telling you today that for us in the Makerere, we don't compete to do da'wah. I mean, we don't compete to fight. We compete to get the mass of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You've organized the sisters camp. For me, I've organized a seminar. You've organized the caravan. I organize the PTC. You get it, eh? But don't organize the PTC, I'm also putting the PTC. Caravan, I'm also putting a caravan. There you're going to crash. Because they'll be the same what? The same students. Then the other comment is on the few numbers of Muslims. Now, we discovered that the challenge of few number of Muslims also is out due to lack of advertisement. Some of these institutions we don't know them. I do some work with Minister of Health. But one of the challenges sometimes we find out in these paramedical institutions, most especially government. Government gives out scholarships. You get it? And those scholarships, the numbers are not met. So what happens? Some of these schools, they start selling out these, right? The administrators start selling out these scholarships to some people, others take them for relatives. You get it? You find out that students are within a school, within a district, but they are not aware that there is a particular institution which exists there. You get it? So how will people know that there is a Moon University? I can get Mr. Chairman. Just go down there and ask a student, do you know Mwini University? Nobody knows. What do they see? They see MOOCs, they see Makerere, they see UCU. But there is Mwini University, the only public university we have in Arua. So, go to Lira. Lira University is actually now hidden in the village. You have to go almost 10 kilometers from town. How will a student know that there is Lira University? So the issue of publicizing these students, these other institutions is very important. As I'm summarizing, how can that one be done? Through the careers guidance programs. For us in IUIU, we used to go and introduce ourselves as students of IUIU even before joining. Some people knew IUIU. You get it? We went to Gulu University and I introduced myself as a student of IUIU when I was in my senior 6 vacation. Some people knew IUIU. Even when we are moving in the advance of IUIU. Even you see some of the students from commerces, as they're coming, they say, IUIU students. Reason? They're using the expressions of the what? Of the university. So thank you so much. Assalamu alaikum.
So each of us has to understand that at this particular point in time, if we are going to fit in the dynamic world, we all need to take the first step of being responsible to share some of these messages and resolve some of these problems together by standing up and choosing to be the first. One of the things about leadership is that it is sometimes not about telling the person to go and pick up a plate when they've left it on the table. It is about picking up one plate and the next person will realize that I can do what this person has done as well. And they'll come and pick up a second plate. If there were bottles scattered all over this room and we saw one of our patrons picking a bottle, I assure you the rest of us, the students, would pick the bottles. Not because he has told us to do so, but because of what we have seen and what it speaks to us. So I thank you very much for taking part in this session. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide us and enable us to actually implement these matters that we have discussed, because they are very pertinent and very key. And I believe that moving forward, we are going to achieve big. But I once again emphasize that it begins with us. So we are always the torch bearers, do the best possible in a voluntary manner and never give up. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.